You may be very talented, all right? You may be very talented and super talented, super smart, and actually be successful. But you can't maintain that state of being successful if you miss something. And that something is consistency. Now, how do you get consistency? You get consistency by actually developing a muscle. You could call that like a planning muscle. It's something you have to do every day so that you ensure that the talent that has been given to you, you can actually use that talent and express it in a very consistent way. Because each one of us is born with something unique, with a certain talent. But those who actually win in life are those who actually have a very good self-confidence, for example. So they have the self-confidence and they're actually going to execute and display their talent without the fear of judgment. So these people who can actually freely showcase their talents and actually do it in a consistent way, these are the people who actually win. And to win, to get consistency, you actually need to have a sort of plan. So in today's session, we're going to talk about a planning method. All right. And the planning method we're going to talk about is the time blocking method. So in time blocking, what you do is you're always planning in advance. And a lot of people actually use that method. For example, Bill Gates swears by that method. It's the thing that he does. He has been doing his whole life. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, they all use the time blocking method. So what you basically do in the time blocking method is you plan in advance. So you plan in advance. You would be planning tomorrow, for instance, as from today. You will be saying, okay, from 8 to 9, I'm going to do this. From 9 to 10, I'm going to do that. And maybe from 1 up to 4, I'm going to do something else because that task requires me to work for 3 hours non-stop. So you plan your day ahead. All right. Now, it's not just planning like this because we need to keep in mind that usually when people plan, they tend to be optimistic. So they assume that it's going to take them 20 minutes to do something, but in real life, it takes like maybe 40 to 50 minutes. And that's something that has been proven by a study the University of Waterloo did, where they actually concluded that people are over optimistic when they actually plan their schedule. All right. So it's something we need to keep in mind. So if you're going to plan your day for tomorrow, let's say in your mind you think that it's going to take 20 minutes. Let's say your first reflex was that it will take 20 minutes. You actually put 15 minutes more. So you're going to put 35 or 40 minutes there, all right? So that's the way you're going to plan ahead, okay? Now, when you use the time blocking method, you actually have two different sections. You have certain blocks, which we call the proactive blocks. So proactive blocks are actually tasks which you need to get done. They are the most important tasks. And usually you plan proactive tasks at the start of the day because you've just woken up, you had your breakfast, you're very fresh, you have lots of energy. So you're in like the perfect state to actually do more complicated tasks. Okay, complex tasks, complicated tasks, but high-level tasks, because these are the kind of tasks which will actually contribute to your success as a person. So these proactive blocks, you plan them in the morning. They are the most complicated tasks, but the high-level tasks, the ones which bring lots of value to your day, because if you can actually do your proactive blocks only for a given day, you actually had a very successful day. All right, so these are proactive blocks. Now, in your day also, there should be reactive blocks. So what happens in reactive blocks is there are tasks where you don't need to be extremely creative. You don't need to invest yourself intellectually a lot. So basically, it's about following up on clients. It's about replying to emails, replying to phone calls, doing the bureaucratic things. So these are the things which will fall in the reactive block section and which you're going to do possibly after lunchtime, which I usually call the downtime. Okay, so these reactive things will be done where you're physically a bit more exhausted and you can actually handle bureaucratic things. Okay, because you won't be using the best optimum time of your life replying to bureaucratic things or replying to emails. These things don't add so much value to your life unless your job is a purely bureaucratic one. If that's not the case, then you should be spending the first part of your journey, of your day, planning creative things, design, creation of content. So these will be your proactive blocks, and the reactive blocks after lunchtime will be like doing the bureaucratic things. So if you can plan your day like that, it actually gives you structure, and you can actually measure at the end of the day whether you've been able to tick those things. And it tells you whether your day has been good or no. And it helps you to also keep track about things which are important, but you were not able to do them. So then that becomes like the priority of the next day. For example, if let's say today you have 3 main things to do, 2 things were in the proactive blocks and 1 thing in the reactive blocks, and you managed to do one of the proactive ones. So the second item under the proactive block becomes the first item of your next day now, because that's something very important for you. That's why it was in the proactive block. So you shift it to the next day, and then you can attack in the second day. So that's a bit how we plan using the time blocking technique. Okay, I hope you found it interesting. And it's not like the recipe for success for everyone. It's like one technique which works for a certain kind of people. Some people like working in smaller chunks of time. We're going to discuss about that in the next podcast, where we're going to explore another planning technique where we actually work in 25 minutes intervals. That's going to be for the next podcast. But for today, that's it, my friends. So I'll see you very soon. I hope that you found it interesting. So see you very soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye. Girish.